So before I get into this commentary, be sure to stick around at the end of the video because, as you can see, this is a 5v5, and it's a pretty try-hardy match, of course. And be sure to stick around to the scoreboard, not the leaderboard, scoreboard, because as you can see, he ran into Fab and his party, and you know, in tried and true fashion, you know, if a footballer busts out the big RQ, you know, rips out that Ethernet cable in sheer rage of defeat. So once again, be sure to stick to the very end of the video and enjoy that little bit. And going to this commentary, we're going to be looking at Dai's perspective mostly, because as you can see here, he's using situational, and Footballs is using situational on the other team as well, of course. No one else is using situational, I think. And this commentary is going to be focusing on the booster situation. I mean, it's such a prevalent thing that I want to talk about, and for a long time, it's a booster that really does need to be discussed, honestly, because there's a lot of opinions about, mostly negative, but I'm going to talk about it in the most unsubjective way possible. I'm not going to be too negative about it. But I mean, I would be a hypocrite to not say the fact that I was one of those people back in the day. I know there's some people who are like, oh, situationals for faggots, situationals for scrubs. If you use situational, you have no skill. I mean, the whole point in being good is to find your targets and stuff. Trust me, I used to kind of be like that. I used to be like, oh, situational's gay. Trust me, even to this day, if I ran into someone who's trying pretty hard to use situational and they gave me or whatever, I'd probably get mad still. At the same time, I kind of after using the booster a bit myself, I kind of made an alt account to really spend some time with it. It really opened up my mind to the booster because, honestly, like I said, I used to be one of those people, which is there's a lot of those types of people that are just like, oh, this booster is gay, this booster is and trust me, I still feel like this booster definitely shouldn't be in Uncharted. I mean, it's pretty standout in comparison to the other ones, and I do feel like Uncharted 2, the game, would be a lot better if it did not have situational, but it is in there. And I mean, after spending some time with it, using it and stuff, I can't really fault anyone for using it. I mean, like I said, I always had this negative, perspective on it, but then I started using it on an alt account and seeing what it could do, and I really, honestly, after that, I can't really blame anyone for using it. I mean, it's really that effective. I mean, I know there's some people out there who think DTI is OP too, and I'll talk about that later, but honestly, situational is a whole nother level. I mean, like I said, if you look at all the boosters in Uncharted 2, none of them really quite compare to this one. I mean, in short, situational lets you see people through walls, and that is a pretty huge advantage. I mean, this booster is so, a standout, I guess, I don't know. It literally has a booster to counter its effects. I mean, that's how crazy it is. I mean, there's no other booster in the game that has a counter booster for it. I mean, only situational merits this, and it's because situational really is that powerful. In the hands of a noob, it makes them a little bit better. Like I said, they'll be able to spot you around corners. Like I said, it does make noobs a little bit better. It makes mediocre players a little bit more effective, of course. And I'm sure we've all run into that fag in the match that, he's hiding around a corner with a shotgun, pressing up like a fucking gopher. I mean, we've all had our fair share of those queers if you've spent some time with Uncharted 2. And sometimes you'll run into people who are very tryhardy, very good, I guess, and they're using situational. You just really can't get anything over them, because I mean, if you're a good player by default, I mean, some people say, oh, he's not a good player if he's using situational. Honestly, there's quite a few people who are very good players and they've used situational. I mean, Dai is a very good player and he's using situational, and there's other players I can mention, but he's very good even without situational. But with it, it really does elevate his game quite a bit. I mean, the booster itself gives the user such a huge advantage. I mean, whether you're a scrub or a veteran, it really does impact your playstyle, and it does so in such a drastic way. It has to be talked about. There were so many threads on Naughty Dog forum complaining about situation, and then when the discussion of Uncharted 3 came out, everyone's like, oh, better get that crap out of here. There better not be seeing people through walls and shit. And sure enough, the situation wasn't in Uncharted, unless you count paying, which is kind of it. But it basically got split into various forms. And truth be told, I mean, like I said, I wish it wasn't, but it is. And I can't really blame anyone for using it, because after spending some time with it on alt account, it really, I don't know, I felt like an idiot for not using it. I mean, it might sound like, oh, GMR Chris is defending situational, and some of you might not like this or whatever, but it's honestly, like I said, I had a narrow-minded perspective like this too. And then I kind of, experimented, kept it up and I used it, and after using it, I can't really blame anyone for using it. It's just that crazy effective. I mean, like I said, situational lets you see people through walls, but this advantage is huge. I mean, I'm sure even pre 1.05 it was huge, even when the health was higher, but after they lowered the health, I mean, this was even bigger of an advantage. The pistol was one bullet in a melee, so if you saw somebody around the wall, you could get ready free pistol fire and just like pretty much win every close quarter combat, like whatever exchange, almost every single time. Like I said, it lets you see people through walls, but it can let you see people through plain sight, I guess. But I mean, that's what you have your eyes for, right? But I mean, it's so huge, especially like, for example, on Trainwreck, a lot of people would say, I mean, Trainwreck's maybe not a very good map for situational because I mean, there's not a lot of corridors, not a lot of walls or stuff. But I mean, as you can see here, Dai is making it work quite well because I mean, he's pretty much hiding behind cover all the time. He's behind a wall at all times, and he'll be able to spot people while he's hiding through these walls that he otherwise might not have been able to. I mean, this is what a smart player would do. Play to your strength. He knows his strength right now is he can see people through walls, so he's gonna stick to walls. He's gonna wait around walls. And he's gonna get the jump on people every single time. Whereas I think for Bolas, like I said, he has situational as well, so he'll be able to catch him. No one else on the other team really has situational, so they're basically at the mercy of Dai. Not only his eyesight, but his little ability to see them through walls. I mean, it's just ridiculous how effective situational is. Even on a map that a lot of people would say it's not necessarily the best on, I mean, Sanctuary or even Temple, I mean, it's a great booster, I guess, for just about anything. And I know a lot of people like it. It's not a great booster, it's a scry booster, but like I said, keep an open mind here. Situational really just is that crazy effective if you know how to use it. I mean, if a scrub can make them look a little bit better, imagine what a already strong player can do with situational. I mean, it's pretty scary. It really is. And like I said, I mean, it lets you see people through walls, so it kind of gives you the advantage almost every single time. And after they lower their health in Uncharted 2, this is huge. I mean, getting the jump on people is always huge, especially in a gunfight. But after they lower their health, this became even more vital. I mean, this is how you basically win gunfights, getting a jump on people, especially if you're playing against people of pretty much, equal caliber of you, like in this tryhardy match right here. And like I said, not only does it let you get the jump on people almost every single time, when I used it, it kind of became like my sixth teammate, if you will. Like I said, when you're playing with like people, I guess, and they have mics, they'll call things up. I mean, well, at least a good part of your teammates would. They'll tell you the enemy location or whatever. But let's say you don't have like people with mics communicating, or let's say you're with a bunch of randoms who are idiots. Situationally, I mean, it's kind of like actually having a teammate. And this teammate, I guess, situational, it will tell you where the enemies are at exactly through walls, and you'll know every single time. As you can see there, Ty kind of spotted him through below him with situational and threw that nade on him. If he didn't have situational, he probably wouldn't have known he was there. And like I said, that's kind of like having a teammate that's like communicating with you. And I'm not sure if anyone in this match in particular was communicating on our side. Outside of me and Guy and Air Rivers. I don't know if Franco Tesla or Elliot was talking. I don't think they were. So I mean, that's three people right there who are actually communicating where the other two aren't. And Dai basically was situational, kind of like when I used it, I learned it was like having a teammate who had basically made the best call-outs you could ever ask for. Like I said, it tells you exactly where they are. You'll see their name, you'll see like a little arrow pointing to where they're at, behind the wall, or whatever. It's just crazy how good and how useful it is. And I know there's a lot of people who will say DTI is OP and scrubby too, or whatever. It's worse than situational. There are some people who think like that, and like I said, it's pretty funny. And trust me, DTI is one of the best boosters in the game. But there's a lot of misconceptions with DTI too, as in it makes like your aim assist better. I've heard as crazy things as it makes like when you're aiming lock on to targets better. I've even heard crazy shit like it makes bullets curve. But I mean, this is the Uncharted community. It's populated by some pretty interesting characters who have spread fun rumors about how Wetsuit Drake jumps faster than all the other skins. I mean, there's a lot of fun crap that's people say, but let's get the facts straight. I mean, what it says, it does, and it reduces bullet spread on long guns. Most evident is when you're using the AK. I mean, when you use an AK, I mean, close to mid-range, you can see where the bullets kind of go, but at a distance, you're going to see that the bullets are kind of spreading. You're going to miss more often if you're not using DTI. Even if your aim's very good, it's going to take more bullets to kill people at a distance, not because your aim's bad or whatever, but just because the bullets are going to, like, they spread out, basically, and they're going to miss. If you have DTI, you don't really have to worry about that because the bullets are basically going wherever you're aiming. So this booster basically really helps at long range skirmishes. I mean, it also boosts the accuracy of the M4. I think it's M4. I don't know if it's M9, and it really makes it basically a laser. I mean, that assault rifle basically becomes pinpoint laser, and I think it might do something to the FAL. But the FAL's pretty accurate on its own. I haven't really noticed a huge impact on the FAL with DTI. But I've heard a lot of crazy shit, and there's a lot of people who say DTI is newbie or whatever. But in truth be told, in the right hands, it's very lethal. But honestly, there's just certain situations where DTI could not be very useful, and if you don't really have good aim, DTI doesn't help because, like I said, it reduces bullet spread. Here's an example of where DTI might not be useful. Let's say you're in like a close mid-range gunfight. Let's say your aim's a little bit off. If you're using DTI, wherever you're aiming, that's where the bullets are basically going to go. Whereas if you don't have DTI, there's room for the bullets to kind of spread and, like, you know, be a little wider shot or whatever. And if you're missing, not having DTI could be an advantage of you because you're missing, there's bullet spread. So maybe you're going to get a few lucky bullets in there that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten with DTI because it makes the bullets basically pinpoint where you're aiming. So basically DTI benefits people who have pinpoint aim. And obviously it helps with long range gunfights. But like I said, in mid to close range, I don't really think DTI is that particularly useful. It just depends on their playstyle, but people are people, and there's a lot of people who say it's newbie or scrubby, and it means you can't aim so much as that. I mean, it's pretty funny shit what people say about DTI. And like I said, there's people say even worse things about Situational, but in my opinion, the final verdict on me is Situational is definitely more overpowered than DTI. It's not even a close comparison. DTI is probably the next best booster in my opinion. Rapid Hands is very good too, and I've heard people cry about that too, which is pretty funny. It doesn't really make much sense to me at all, but, you know, like I said, people are people. They always have excuses. People are more quick to come up with an excuse and admit that they need to prove that they got outplayed and they lost. It's always easier to come up with an excuse than own up to something. But, I mean, like I said, Situational, I do feel like Uncharted would have been a better game without it, and we've cried about it quite a bit, and it made its way to Uncharted 3 in quite a few ways, and hell, it might even make it to Uncharted 4 at this rate, I mean, honestly. But, I mean, I kind of wish Uncharted 2 didn't have it, because I feel like the game overall would have been better, but I can't really blame anyone for using Situational after spending some time with it, because it really just is the best booster in the game at any situation. It gives you such an advantage, and pretty much guarantees you the first shot on just about anyone who's facing invasion. It's like having an extra teammate that tells you exactly where the enemies are. It's just ridiculous how truly effective it is, and in hindsight, I kind of regret not using Situation because it's just that ridiculous. And like I said, there's people who have these moral high grounds, and they're the white knight of the community. Like, I am better because I don't use Situational. I am a better player than you because I don't use DTI. And these people have these strange moral standards. But at the end of the day, a win's a win, as long as you're not like cheating or glitching or whatever. I feel like you do whatever it takes. You'll use whatever gives you an edge to pull out the win, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, the win. And if you're too uptight to use Situational, or you feel like it makes you worse or something, I mean, that's fine. At the same time, keep in mind that there are other people who will use whatever they have at their disposal to win. Just keep in mind, Situational really is probably bar none the best booster in the game. So when you do run into someone in this any situation, someone about to play any situation, just keep in mind what level you're dealing with. Because I mean, it truly is on its own level. It's something. I mean, it's the only booster in the game that has another booster, Evasion, to counter it. No other booster warrants that much of a overall like I don't know, impact on the game where something else needs to be put in to counter it. Like I said, Situational is the most effective booster in Uncharted 2, and I've always felt like I always hated it. I still don't really like it to this day, but after spending some time with it, it really opened me up to like the perspective of the booster and why people would use it, and why I felt retarded for not using it. And trust me, I'm not encouraging everyone to start using Situational Uncharted 2, because I mean, the hindsight and the effect of that would be pretty catastrophic. Could you imagine if everyone like had like this and just started using situational Uncharted 2 everywhere? I mean, every match would just be people like kind of peeking around corners and walls all the time, pressing up. I mean, people would be too chicken shit to budge. It would be pretty bad. And like I said, I just wish it wasn't in the game. At the same time, people who do use it, I kind of have a news, I'm not saying sense of respect, but I do kind of understand where you're coming from, because I mean, it just really is that good. And I feel like some people who bash on it constantly, I feel like maybe you should use it. And I know, like I said, maybe you have some moral high ground and you don't use stuff like that or whatever, but maybe you should really, you know, spend some time with it before you really pass judgment on it, because it's just ridiculous how effective this booster is, and I don't blame anyone who decides to use it. It's just really that effective, bar none the best in the game, and I've said this probably multiple times. And I know some people aren't gonna like this. Some people are gonna be stuck in their same old ways of situationals, gang, and stuff. And that's fine. Ultimately, though, I kind of just asked, do you keep an open mind? Because I think it improves your play, and I think it improves you as a person in general. It's always just to learn some new things and stuff. That's all I really ask. And that's about it for this video, this commentary. I kind of like the last commentary I had for any major topics for Uncharted, and I'll still do some Uncharted stuff, maybe just some raw gameplay, maybe some commentary, but I feel like I've covered all the major points I kind of wanted to say, in particular in Uncharted 2. And I have tons of Uncharted gameplay, and maybe I'll upload it. I mean, I have some stuff of, you know, me trying real hard against scrubs and rampants and stuff. I don't know if you guys want to see that. I have tons of try-hard matches too. And I encourage anyone who has anything who thinks this is worth seeing or uploading in HD, send it to me. I'll definitely upload any good matches. And that's about it for this video. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.